All right, man, peace. So Steve Kerr has started off his career as a professional coach in the NBA, probably at a greater level of success than any other coach in the history of the league, other than probably Phil Jackson. Now, I believe Pat Riley took over for the Lakers in the middle of the 81-82 season. They won the championship that year. Then they lost in 83 and 84, and they won in 85, lost in 86, won in 87 and 88. Phil Jackson took over in the 89-90 season. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they won the championship the next 3 years. So Phil Jackson won championships in 3 of his first 4 seasons, just like Steve Kerr has. So Kerr is off to a great start. And being as though he was tutored, he was put under the tutelage of Phil Jackson and as well as Greg Popovich. He's very shrewd. He understands the importance of synergy in the locker room. He understands the importance of maintaining a proper psychological balance amongst his players. So he's not going to fall for any type of questions that may create an inflammation in his locker room. What do I mean by that? He knows right now that it's a very tenuous situation with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, because Steph Curry was considered the superstar of the NBA before the 2016 finals due to his failures. That precipitated the Golden State Warriors deciding to bring in Kevin Durant. Steph Curry basically rolled out the red carpet for Kevin Durant and gave over control of the team in the conference finals and the finals to Durant to allow him to win. And this was supposed to be Steph Curry's season to win the MVP of the NBA Finals. Steve Kerr knows it. Everybody knows it. Steph Curry came up short in Game 3, and it cost him the MVP. So now Steve Kerr is going to be asked a question by Mark Schwartz, and Steve Kerr is going to try to put some type of water on that flame. He's going to try to douse the flames because he knows this can carry over into next season if he's not careful. He knows that based on the personality types of both Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, it's not going to be anything too bad. But just to nip it in the bud, he's going to make sure that he makes certain statements to let the media understand that, quote-unquote, nobody cares. But we know that's the farthest thing from the truth. Steph Curry clearly was going for that MVP award all 4 games. He was trying his damnedest to get the MVP award. So, of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Steve, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Steph got a finals record 9 3-point shots in Game 2. Tonight, he closes out with 37.
And damn, Mark Schwartz is like Steph Curry's biggest fan in the media. Shit. Mark Schwartz is to Steph Curry what Nick Wright is to LeBron James. Every time I see this guy asking a question, it's about Steph Curry.
What more does he...
Steph Curry better not get undressed in the locker room around Mark Schwartz.
Does he need to do to be named Finals MVP?
Play well in Game 3s. He plays terrible in Game 3s in the finals. That's a Steph Curry problem. Had Steph Curry had the game in Game 3 that he had in Game 4, he would have been the MVP. He had a terrible Game 3. He tried to come back in Game 4, shot pretty well, but it was already too late because the people who evaluated who the MVP of the series was said to themselves the series was already over after Game 3 because of Kevin Durant's dominant performance.
I don't vote, so I know that's a storyline, and I'm sure it would have been nice for Steph to win the MVP.
Much more than nice, Steve Kerr. Let's be for real. In the history of the NBA, when we're talking about transcendent teams, you have transcendent players on those teams, and they have to get the MVP award sooner or later. Steph Curry is going to be heading into his 5th NBA Finals appearance next season, should they get there, and he will have not gotten an MVP award in the finals. They've won 3 out of 4 thus far. He has not won yet. That's going to push and promote the narrative that he does not play well in the finals. That's something that he needs.
But honestly, I don't think he's that disappointed at the...
Yeah, he's not that disappointed. Not at all. Wasn't disappointed at all after Game 3 when he was crying into Andre Iguodala's jersey.
At this point, one of the great things about having the talent around him is that he gets to win championships. And
yes, but you know what, Steve? That's supposed to be a far-gone conclusion that they're going to win a championship. he has to put his stamp, his mark on the team. You had Rick Barry in the 70s. Of course, you had Run TMC in the early 90s, but they never really won shit. Now is his moment. Steph Curry just turned 30 years old this year. He's in his prime right now. And he's closer to retirement, most likely, than he is to being a rookie. He has to win the NBA Finals MVP either next year or the year after that, hopefully for him both. Because as of right now, Kevin Durant is looked at as the leader of that team by the other players in the NBA. And please keep in mind, even before Kevin Durant got there, it was normal throughout the NBA for the more prominent players across the league to try to demean or marginalize Steph Curry for whatever reason. I'm sure that there are myriad of reasons as to why many of the other prominent players in the league felt very comfortable trying to denigrate Steph Curry. Maybe it's because he's not an astounding athlete, meaning what? He's not a great leaper. That has hurt him, I believe, in his career. And then on top of that, he's shown that physicality can take him out of his proper mind frame to be successful.
And, 2 years ago, we lost in Game 7 to Cleveland.
And he was terrible in that game.
And that was devastating. And Steph went out and recruited KD.
Did Steph really go out and recruit KD, or was he prompted to assist in recruiting KD by you, the front office, and especially Draymond Green, who have been planting the seeds into Kevin Durant's ear throughout that regular season? I don't see Steph Curry as someone who called up Steve Kerr after the season and said, hey, let's go get KD. I believe that he was called. And I also believe that he showed the level of generosity that is inherent within him, the level of maturity that's inherent within him, that he was able to put aside his natural male ego and pride. He's not just a regular player, he is a superstar. He put that to the side to bring in Kevin Durant. Not only to bring him in, but to go to where Kevin Durant was vacationing as part of a retinue to try to encourage him to join the squad. I'm sure that had to hurt him inside, that his franchise felt that he was not good enough to lead them to a finals victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers for the next season.
With this in mind, winning titles. And I was there in the Hamptons when we had that discussion. I don't remember anybody asking, who's going to win MVP in the finals. It was all about let's win championships together. And
I don't think that it ever was a question as to who they were going to allow to win the MVP in the finals in 2017. That had Kevin Durant's name written all over it. Kevin Durant has spent the previous 2 seasons talking about how he was tired of being number 2. He was starting to spaz out in Oklahoma City, getting technical fouls while he was there. People overrate a lot of the texts that he's been getting in Golden State, acting as if he's showing a new character. He was showing that personage while he was still with the Oklahoma City Thunder, because he was frustrated playing with Russell Westbrook. He came to the Golden State Warriors, and everyone knew that the 2016-17 season was going to be a referendum on the Golden State Warriors and Kevin Durant. That's why Steph took a step back in the finals and said, KD, go do your thing. There goes Thanos over there. You're the Incredible Hulk. You guys go toe-to-toe. Let's see what happens. I got your back.
And that's what this is about. You guys can write about MVP. We don't care.
2 rows back.
No, you might not care. Steph cares. But I understand why you're saying that, though, because you have to cover for him. You're doing a good job, Steve Kerr. I totally understand what you're doing. And you also understand that this is something that can trickle over into next season. You guys swept the Cleveland Cavaliers. So you pretty much had the power to engineer who you guys wanted to be the MVP of this series. That is why Steph Curry was crying. Because he knew that all of his teammates were trying to help him win the MVP award, and he came up short in Game 3. So we'll see what happens next season. Peace.